Very good evening, everyone. I am Israt Sharmin Kea and welcome you all to the fourth episode of Studying Abroad 101, hosted by the Daily Star and Standard Chartered Bank. In this series of sessions, we bring experts who are specialized in guiding aspiring students who aim to pursue their undergrad or higher studies abroad. We're going to discuss about the steps, procedures, and the most important aspects for applying in the Australian universities in today's session. So before diving into the session, let's have a look into one of the most important components, which is Student File offered by Standard Chartered Bank. That was a very informative AV. Before starting our main session, I would like to give a heads up to our audience who joined us that you can ask any questions or any queries to our experts directly through our comment section. So this is an exclusive opportunity for you to get engaged with our experts. So don't miss out on the chance. Now, without any further ado, let's get introduced to our today's guest panel. We have a very dynamic guest panel among us today. First, let me introduce Ms. Melissa Willoughby, Country Manager, International Recruitment, Flinders University. Hello, Ms. Melissa. Thank you for joining us. Then we have Ms. Julia Wibowo, International Regional Officer, University of New South Wales, Sydney.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Ms. Julia. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, let me introduce to an IDP representative, Mr. Ravi Chandran.
Hi all.
Hello, Mr. Ravi Chandran. Thank you for joining us. And then we have a Standard Chartered Bank representative, Ms. Cynthia Farhad Borsha.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Borshapu. Thank you for joining us. And then finally, we have Ghazi Saima Simran, who is currently studying in Business and IT at Griffith University.
Hey everyone, I'm Ghazi.
Hello, Ms. Ghazi. Thank you for joining us. And then
My pleasure.
we have two aspiring students who are willing to apply in the Australian universities in future, and they are Tehsib Wahid and Mashruful Islam Adrito.
Hello everyone.
Hello, Tehsib and Adrito. Thank you for joining us. I am very excited to have this amazing panel among us today, and I will get back to you, all of you, shortly.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Now, moving forward, I would like to start our today's first session, which is a question answer session between the aspiring students and Ms. Ghazi Saima Simran. So I would like to hand over the floor to Tehsib Wahid to go ahead with your questions with Ms. Ghazi Saima. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daisy, and I'm just to give a short introduction. I'm from the Jargo International School studying DP1, which is grade 11. So my question to Miss would be that when do you think students should start taking preparations for overseas studies? Was I clear?
Sorry, the internet dropped a little bit. Could you come again?
Yeah, sure. So my question would be that when do you think a student should start preparing for overseas studies?
So it really depends on the university you're applying to. I personally feel if you're looking for applying to Australia, like Keabu said already, you're probably going to apply to Australia. It depends on the visa procedure for Canada. Australia is a little bit longer than some other countries, they would say. So I would say to apply, it would be like make your like do your research in grade 10 or something so that you know what subjects you want to take, what degree you want to do. So suppose you're doing business or you're doing like well, if you're gonna go on the science sector, you need to take like A-level science subjects, and then business you need to take accounting, economics. So it depends on which uni or which degree you're doing. So from grade 10 it would be, but when you decide what degree and what career you want to go to, grade 11 or end of grade 11, you can take IELTS and all the things, all the requisites and everything that you need to do to get into uni.
Okay, thank you. That was a great answer, actually. And my second question would be like, do you have any tips for like writing the essays and taking the recommendation letters for the universities we're applying to?
Personally, I have applied to a lot of universities in Australia before coming here, but none of them required an essay unless you're applying for a scholarship. Just for general application, they don't require any essays, but they do require statement of purpose, which is called SOP. There you have to, but that's a visa thing. But for universities, they wouldn't require any essays or stuff. But you want to, if someone wants it, or if you want to put go an extra mile and do it, probably say just be passionate about what you want to do. Just gain and brush up your skills and knowledge about the sector. Suppose if you, because I'm doing IT, if you want to do IT, just like get to know about the new technologies. If the university has any projects going on with the country or with any other places, like collaboration projects and stuff with IT, so like you can connect back to it. So you can say like, oh, I want to do this because I want to connect back to this, and just like connect the dots and stuff, and just show a connection, and just be very passionate and knowledgeable about it. But don't make it like super lengthy as well, because nobody would want to read a very heavy worded and complicated worded essay.
Okay, thank you.
And for recommendation letter, that was your second question, I believe. For the recommendation letter, I think you just need to build a good relationship with your teachers in school and stuff. If you have a good relationship with them, and just get some extracurriculum, and like those are brownie points, basically extracurriculum. So that would determine your communication skills, your soft skills, or like interaction skills. So if the teacher mentions all this, like, oh, you can work with a group, you know how to lead a group and all these things, it would always be a good thing to be on your recommendation letter.
Thank you. That was a good one.
That's wonderful. I guess, Daisy, you got your answers and it was helpful. Now, I would like to call Mashruful Islam Adrito, another aspiring student who's going to apply in the Australian University in future. Mashruful, you can come up with your questions and ask Miss Ghazi. The floor is yours.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you so much for giving me the floor. I would like to introduce myself first. I am Mashruful Islam Adrito, undergrad student in East West University and from Department of Sociology. So my question was for Apu, like, does it require making any payments to institution for applying?
It does. If you're doing it by yourself, then I think $50 to $100 is the range. So depends on the uni. I think for UNSW or USyd, like the group of 8 universities in Australia that are like the big universities like Monash and all that, you would probably need 100 or 150. And for like a little bit middle ranged universities, you'd probably need $50 or something. But if you're doing through an agent, you don't need to pay it by yourself. They would make everything, like you don't need to pay anything. You can just pay for the visa fee, and everything else the agent would pay, because they get a cut out of your tuition fee when you get into the university. So they wouldn't like charge you for the application, or like dropping application. You can put out applications to as many universities as you want.
Thank you so much. And
No
my
worries.
second question was, how is your experience so far? Like, can you tell me about how one can prepare themselves before applying for a scholarship?
So my experience in Australia, I would say it's amazing. It's a beautiful country. The universities are very good. They're very helpful towards students, and they have like different. The universities have different sectors to deal with international students as well. So that can be like very easy for you to connect to. Like they would know where you come from and like what is why like your background and everything. So they have a special sector for like international student advisors, so they help you into the transitions, and like the university has a lot of extracurriculum activities that would help you into the transition of a new country, new culture, and new everything. And for scholarships, I personally, when I applied for universities, I didn't find abundance of undergrad scholarships. Like Australia is more focused on PhD scholarships and stuff. So for undergrad, they don't usually get scholarships. But if you are from like if you have a very good result, it depends on like how your academic like going that extra mile, how your academic results are. If you have like, because I did A levels, if you have all A stars and A's, you would get a 50%. I think that's the max you get in undergrad, 50% scholarship. So, but even for that, you have to have like really good grades. You have to have like 4 A level subjects, and I think 3 needs to be A star and 1 needs to be A for 50%. And the next one is 25%. So 25% is a little bit, obviously, it's a little bit less, so it's a little bit easier to get. I think it would require just A's and like 3 A's and 1 A star. So for that, you just need to like study well in your A levels or like HSC or whatever it is. Just like focus on that, focus on your subjects, focus on your score, and then you can. Because Australia has a different way of calculating stuff. They don't do A levels and stuff. They do OP rankings. So you have to convert your scores into OP rankings and then apply for scholarships.
Thank you so much. It was really
No
informative.
worries.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
Adrito, hope you got your confusions cleared. And thank you so much, Miss Gazi Simran.
Thank you so much for having
That
me. It
was
was my
very
pleasure.
informative. Now, moving forward, I would like to invite Miss Cynthia Farhad Basha, a Standard Chartered Bank representative. And I have some questions for Ms. Basha. Let's have a conversation on that. Hi,
Hi,
Basha
Priya.
Apu. Good to see you
Hello.
again.
Same here.
Okay.
How are you
If you
doing?
would, good, Alhamdulillah. If you would like me to go ahead with the questions.
Yes, please.
Okay, so my first question to you is, what is a student file? Can you explain a bit more?
Yes, of course. I'm going to do that. Before doing that, let me just give a brief introduction for myself. As you rightly said, I'm Cynthia Farhad Borsha, working in Standard Chartered Bank and looking after student file portfolio for last 4 years. And uh, due to my work, it has been a great pleasure for me that I have been able to work very closely with the youth of the country who are trying to make their dream come true, and we are being a part of that. So we feel really honored. Now, moving into answering the question, what is student file? Well, student file is the solution, the only legal solution through which a student, or if somebody wants to study abroad, they can transfer their tuition fees and living expenses in the foreign currency. So when a student is trying to go abroad for pursuing their higher study, what happens is that they need to pay the institution, the foreign institution, the tuition fees and living expense, and obviously that amount has to be on the currency of that country. So when we are sending foreign currency out of Bangladesh, or we are bringing foreign currency inside the Bangladesh, these things are very much regulated in our country. So to make it easy, make it very simple for the students, what our regulator thought, they came up with this beautiful solution called student file, and they also involve the banks into it. So what we are doing, we are following the guidelines and the regulation given by the regulators, and we are working with our customers, with our students. We are taking their documentation, We are going through the documentations, we are validating the transactions, and we are sending those foreign currency on behalf of the students and their parents, and we are trying to make it as smoother as possible so that the student and their parents can have an enjoyable experience. So basically that is student file.
Okay, that's wonderful. My next question to you is, Apu, that when is the right time to open a student file?
Well, the right time for opening student file would be the moment a student has accepted an offer letter from an institution, because usually what happens, institution gives a time frame for accepting the offer letter and also receiving some payment from the student for securing the seat. So as soon as possible, the student is giving the payment by opening a student file. He or she is getting time for taking preparation for making the journey, as well as the institution also gets the time to take preparation for the student. As Simran mentioned about the association they have in their universities, that work for making the student very used to with the campus and the new culture. So the university will also get that time to make the student feel at home. However, a student file is a very student friendly solution. If let's suppose a student has gone to a foreign country and started their education in that foreign institution, at that time also, if they feel the necessity of getting some fund out of Bangladesh, they can open student file. All they need to do is they need to communicate with us, and we will be doing the things for them. Being said that, my advice would be to open it as early as possible.
That's nice. My next question to you is like, what do you need to open a student file?
The requirements for opening student file are very simple, just like the solution itself. If I categorize the requirements in three segments, the first segment would be the study related document. Under the study related documents, if we can have the next slide, we can see the categories there. So the first category would be study related documents. Under study related documents, students need to provide all their certificates and transcript, as well as the offer letter that they have received from the university. Then comes the second category, that is their travel related documents. Under travel related documents, we have the passport of the students and their visa if they have already gotten the visa. So those kind of documents. Then comes the banking requirements. Now, under banking requirements, students need to fill up some forms for opening the student file, and they need to have an active account with Standard Chartered Bank. Now, with this account, there is a very interesting product we have for students, because when I was a teenager, or when I was at the age where the students are right now, I didn't had my own account. But Standard Chartered Bank understand that this is one of the key areas where if we can provide proper tools to the students, they can have a better and enjoyable journey when they are leaving the country. So we have developed several accounts dedicated only for students and young population of the country, like graduate account, early child savers account, then a school banking account. So if student already has this kind of accounts and they have exposure to this kind of accounts, it will be very easier for them to operate their own account when they're all alone, all by themselves in a foreign country. So basically, these are the requirements for opening student file. And in the slide, you can also see the basic courses for which student file can be opened.
Yeah, those, I think that if the students can follow the instructions rightfully, they are going to find it very helpful. Thank you so much, Apu. So my next question to you is, like, my last question to you basically is that what are some of the other things that could help in the overseas experience?
That's a very interesting and very, very important question for whoever is listening us today. Standard Chartered Bank is the pioneer bank who actually started working with StudentFile for the first time in Bangladesh. So, throughout our experience, we have identified areas that are very much important for students to have a better experience, have a better journey while they are outside of Bangladesh. So the first thing that we have identified is that it is very important for students that they are sending their money, or they are sending the fund to the institution, foreign institution, as soon as possible or as fast as possible, and through a secure media. So here, how we are helping them. Standard Chartered Bank, everyone knows that we are a multinational bank. We have our presence all over the world, and we are taking leverage on our strong network, and we are making it sure that we are, on behalf of the student, sending the fund to the foreign university as fast as possible, and no other bank in Bangladesh can do it better than faster than we are doing. So the first requirement is done, checked. Now the second requirement, uh, foreign education, foreign higher education, this is a very expensive proposition. So when students are looking for educational institution, they are doing all the hard work, giving their IELTS exam, GRE, GMAT, all those things are done. They have also gotten the offer from the university. But initially, they need to pay a very handsome amount as their tuition fees, and they also need to take a very handsome amount as their living expense with them. So at this moment, how we are trying to help the students and their parents is we have several products like our personal loan facility, we have our overdraft facilities. So the parents of the student or the sponsor of the students can very easily avail these kind of loans and overdraft facility products from us, and they can easily mitigate the initial expenses that needs to be done. And also they can avail these products when there is a unplanned financial requirement, like the things that is going on during this COVID pandemic. There were huge requirements of fund from different students and their parents. We face those kind of requirements, and at that time we also offered them our products, and they were really beneficial, they were really helpful that we have this service for them. So the second requirement is done. Now let's move to the third point. We have credit card facility, we have supplementary credit card facility. So student, when they are moving abroad, they can very easily take the supplementary card, tag their travel limit with the supplementary card, and pay off their financial expenses till the time they have their own account open in the foreign country. Because when a student is going or moving at that particular time, sometimes they are not being able to open their own account and can't take the living expense along with them. So at that point of time, this supplementary credit card is going to save their life. Now, moving into the fourth point, I have already mentioned about it. The accounts we have for the young generation, for the young population, our graduate account, early child savers account, our school banking accounts. If a student has already exposure with this kind of accounts, it won't be a very challenging thing for them when they are all alone by themselves in a foreign country, to open an account, to know how to operate your own account, to know how to work with your debit card. These things won't be an issue for them because they already have this banking knowledge from their mother country, from the Bangladesh. So when they need to learn a lot of new things, relearn a lot of new things, and face a lots of challenges, managing their own finances by themselves won't be one, because they already have that exposure. And we also have facilities like dedicated student desk in our Gulshan branch, in our Dhanmondi branch. We have dedicated email address for students where they can reach us. Our 24/7 call center is also open for students to reach us, and we are trying to help them as much as possible, as a friend, as their companion. So all the students need to do, they need to come to us, they need to tell us what their requirement is, and we are ready to help them. Over to you, Kea.
Thank you so much, Apu, for all the information. Hope the
My pleasure.
students found them useful and can use in their benefits in future.
Inshallah,
And thank you so
inshallah.
much, Apu.
Thank you, KR.
Moving forward, I would like to invite Mr. Ravi Chandran, Country Director, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hello, Mr. Ravi. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Pleasure
I
being
have
here.
the I have some questions for you. If you would like me to
Yeah.
go ahead with the questions.
Yeah. Please, please. I'm
Okay,
eager to answer.
thank you. So my first question to you is, what role does the IDP play in helping Bangladeshi students to go and study in Australia?
Okay, fantastic question. First of all, let me explain what IDP is. IDP is a global leader in international education. We help international students study in English-speaking countries. Our success comes from connecting students with the right course in the right university or institution and the right country. We have been doing it for over 50 years, creating a huge network of opportunities with 120 plus offices in 32 countries. Our extensive network of approachable experts help you to identify and secure the university or college where you can thrive. We work with the students to turn their plan to study overseas into a launch pad for professional success and personal growth. IDP combines experience and technology to help you make the most informed decision possible. We partner with more than 650 leading universities, schools, and colleges across Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and United Kingdom, and the United States. This means we have access to a database of more than 180,000 courses and programs, so we are sure to find you the best fit. We always put the people first. Need help finding the best school, submitting your university application, or guiding you through the visa requirement. Your dedicated IDP counselor will work with you closely, supporting you and your family throughout your study abroad journey. Our counselors are the greatest. Many IDP counselors were international students too, and they are ready to do whatever it takes to help students find the right course in the country. They're all peer certified international education experts, ready to go the extra mile and friendly face who have been there and done that for themselves and willing to share what they have learned. Our support doesn't end when you receive your university acceptance letter. At IDP, we are dedicated to ensuring you feel supported at every stage of your study journey. We offer a full suite of services covering English language testing, which is IELTS, visa assistance, pre-departure advice. Our services are continually evolving to support our students through the graduation and beyond. We are also, we call ourselves as one shop stop for Bangladeshi students, and we are also the co-owner of IELTS testing. As a co-owner of IELTS International Language Testing System, we can help you to book and prepare for your IELTS test recognized by more than 10,000 organizations around the world. IELTS is the world leading English language test for study, work, and migration purpose. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. That was helpful. My next question to you is, why would students choose to go and study in Australia? What's your perspective on this?
Oh, that's a favorite question. What you have asked, which I've been doing for the last 9 years, day in day out. Australia, known around the world for its top university and quality study experience. Australia is where you need to study for great career opportunities. Home to leading university, it offers a relaxed, affordable study experience and strong career opportunities in some of the world's most livable cities. Australia offers a diverse range of study options for international students with more than 1,200 institutions and over 22,000 courses to aspirants. Australian institutions offer courses spanning diverse study areas including business, technology, arts, science, etc., as well as professional qualifications. Whether you're looking up to take up an undergraduate degree or a dual specialization or double masters. Okay, Australia has everything you need. In fact, Australian universities rank third of the highest number of international students. Many Bangladeshi students study in Australia for its unparalleled quality of education, high standard of living, post-study work opportunities, promising career prospects, and other factors. Now, the question of why study in Australia. According to the QS Best Student Cities in 2019, seven Australian cities, which is Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Canberra, Adelaide, Perth, and the Gold Coast, are in the world's top 100 student cities. If you want to study in Australia from Bangladesh, you are making a great choice. The country is known for its quality of education, internationally accredited qualification, lingual diversity, scholarship and internship opportunities, and post-study work opportunities. Now, the best part is, employment prospect in Australia. Working part-time can be a great way to help cover your living expense in Australia, but also keep you gain work experience in your field of study. Post-study work visa in Australia. Australia now offers up to 4 years of post-study work rights to international students post completion of their respective bachelor's or master's degree in regional areas. This is a great update as of now. You can plan for your career in a better manner. Having a wider range of areas accessible to study and work besides a longer duration of post-study work visibility with sophisticated people and culture of Australia, with sophisticated infrastructure, world-leading healthcare services, a dynamic range of public transport, numerous student services, and comparatively affordable cost of living. Australia, I will end up saying Australia is a heaven for those looking to study abroad.
Okay, that's really wonderful, Mr. Ravi. Thank you for all your answers. They were very
Thank you.
interesting, and thank you. I will move forward to our next session, and we were talking to Mr. Ravi Chandran, Country Director, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka IDP.
Thank you for having me here, and I'm available for any question and answers.
Thank you so much for your cooperation. Now, moving forward, I would like to invite Ms. Melissa Willoughby, Country Manager, International Recruitment, Flinders University, to have a discussion with me.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Ms. Melissa. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Okay, so I have some questions for you if you would like me to go ahead with the questions.
Please do.
Okay. So my first question to you is, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about studying in Australia?
Okay. The first one that often I get asked is about racism. Is there racism in Australia? Will I experience racism? And I think there is a big misconception around this. And I think people are just worried generally whenever they travel or go anywhere, abroad, if they will experience that. But the one thing about Australia is that it is a very multicultural country. So the whole country, pretty much everybody except for the Australian Aboriginals, have come to Australia from somewhere else. So it's very open, it's very accepting, it's very multicultural, it's a very peaceful country to live in. And I just think that it's not something that anyone needs to be fearful or worried about in terms of travel and study and living in Australia. So it's a very safe, free, open, accepting country. Apart from that, I would say just a funny misconception. People get worried about spiders and snakes and things like that in Australia. Will they get, we have dangerous animals and, insects and things. And if most of the time you'll be in the city and your studies are in the city, you won't see any of those things. So you don't ever have to worry about spiders or snakes or anything like that. So, if you were going out into the country at some point, maybe you would see one. But in my life, I may have seen one snake. So I think it's just it's a misconception that people have about Australia. They have lots of dangerous things. We do, but you won't see them.
Okay, I also needed to know this because I was also scared of this idea of the snakes and insects in the Australia concept. So my next question to you is, how should the students prepare themselves mentally to live as an international student?
That's a really good question. I think the biggest thing that students can do, and it's easy to say this before you go, but and perhaps it's not as easy to do in practice. But one thing I would say is about practicing independence. So, for instance, if you know how to cook a few meals, it's a good idea to learn those things. You can obviously buy whatever you need in Australia and any food you like to eat. However, it's much more affordable to be able to cook, and most students do like to do their own cooking. So, if you build up a few skills in terms of independence before you come, I think that's a good idea. Obviously, if you don't, you learn. You obviously will learn, and that I think that's just part of what happens and part of the experience as an international student. You do learn, that real independence, which I think is such a valuable life skill. I think the other thing is just being ready to put yourself out there, be ready to meet people, be ready to make networks and connections, volunteer, put your hand up if there's opportunities to be involved in things. I think all of those things are really a good idea just to come with that mindset. I personally think it's really important as a student to see when you start your studies. Obviously, it's important to have good academics, but it's equally important to be really engaging, and especially if you can be engaging in something that links to the area that you're wanting to have your career in. So I always say to students, see your first day of your study, imagine it is your first day of your career. And so look for any opportunities to build that network, build that experience, build your connections, because I think the more you do that from the beginning, the easier it is to transition into your career after you finished your degree.
Thank you so much. My last question to you is, Ms. Melissa, that how should a student select an educational institution? What do you think should be the criteria?
Yes, absolutely. So, from my opinion, so firstly, in Australia, all education providers are of extremely high quality. So it's very regulated. We have our Tertiary Education Skills Quality Authority that regulates all the university education. They're pretty much all public, government universities. The standard of education is exceptional. So the first thing I would say is it's really about what you're wanting to study. So, when you know the program that you're wanting to study, that really sort of narrows it down as to where can where you can do that program, depending on how specific it is. Obviously some programs most universities will teach, but then there are some more specific niche programs that only certain universities teach. So firstly, working out the program and who's offering that. Secondly, I do think location's really important. So most people are very familiar with the big cities in Australia like Sydney and Melbourne. And one thing is that I think, Flinders is actually based in Adelaide, South Australia. And I think some of the smaller cities, or as Mr. Ravi was mentioning before, regional cities, have a lot to offer students. So firstly, you get additional post-study work rights after you've finished your study, so you can stay longer. And also a lot of the governments in the smaller cities are really encouraging to attract people and talented people and keep them, especially our government in South Australia. So there's lots of incentives around really trying to keep people here if they're wanting to stay. So I think that's another thing, looking at the place to live. South Australia is the third most livable city in the world and number one in Australia. So and the most affordable city to live in Australia as well. So lots of good reasons. So I would say choose your course, choose your location, and then look at the work integrated learning, the placement components, the internship components within your program, because these practical experiences that are embedded in your program are the things that are going to help you get your foot in the door to your career.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was very insightful and to the point. Miss Melissa, thank you so much for all your answers.
You're welcome, Isra. Thank you.
Moving forward, before I would like to invite our next guest, I would like to give a reminder to our audience that you can ask any questions, any queries through our comment box directly to the experts and get your answers and confusions cleared. Now, I would like to call Miss Julia Wibowo, International Regional Officer, University of New South Wales, Sydney.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me today.
Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kaya.
I have some questions for you if you would like me to go ahead.
Yes, please.
Okay. So my first question to you is, Ms. Julia, what would be your top 3 tips for aspiring students to study in Australia?
Look, it's been covered by both Rafi and Melissa in the earlier sessions. So I'm just going to recap it because this is also my 3 tips for students to, to decide whether what is the best thing to do, before, putting the applications. So my first tip is actually try to find the degree that you want to do. You can narrow it down, but if you have any problem finding the right degrees for you, maybe thinking about what job that you want to do at the end of your study, what career that you want to pursue at the end of your study. Tips number 2 is do a little bit of research of Australia in general, do a little bit of research on the cities, choose or decide whether you want to, study in the big city like Sydney or Melbourne, or if you want to go to a smaller locations, or even go to regional. As Mr. Rafi said, we have thousands and thousands of university scattered in, the whole Australia. And last tip, and tip number 3 is do the research. So if you decide what city that you want to be and you want to be studying, then do a little bit of research of the university. What are the university available, for example, in Sydney? What sort of the ranking, the reputations, the facilities available in campus, and also all the supports available for international students, whether it's a support for the academic, any social support, student association, as well as the career, because career is very important. After your study, of course, you would like to be able to find a job that you like.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Julia. My next question to you is, what are the most common problems international students face when they ask you regarding scholarships?
Scholarships is always the question for students. Like if it's my decision, I would love to give scholarship to every bright, brilliant students from Bangladesh.
Wow.
And here I can only talk about UNSW specifically, because other university may or may not have scholarships, and if they do, they may have a different schemes on how they grant these scholarships. The good news is UNSW do have scholarships from $5,000, $10,000 one-off to $20,000 yearly. That's nearly 50% of your tuition fee, as well as full scholarships. UNSW also have 3 intakes, and we give scholarship for every intake. So 3 intakes a year, scholarship for every intake. Now, the most common problem or the most common questions, or maybe disappointment for some students is the scholarships are limited, and being top 50 university in the world, part of the group of 8 here in Australia, is very competitive to get the scholarship at UNSW. So I guess students probably would like to say that we don't offer enough scholarship for students, but as every university do have a different thing. So please do a little bit of research and find out about the scholarship available in each institution, in each university. I guess also, different scholarships are available also from your own government, from your own country. So it's best also to do a little bit of research on that.
Okay, thank you, Miss Julia. My last question to you is: are Bangladeshi students being able to go to Australia during this pandemic?
This would be the questions in everyone's mind. You all know that the borders, the Australian borders, have been closed for more than a year now. And the good things is the governments actually have already made some plans, have already have plans in place as well as future plans. So the one very good news is happening actually in South Australia. So one of the states that have been given the green light from both of the state as well as the federal government to start bringing some international students back to South Australia. And this pilot program for South Australia will be likely happening towards the end of the year, bringing about 160 students. I think it's going to happen around October or November this year. The other states that already have partial approval is New South Wales, and that's where Sydney or UNSW is located. So we've already got the approval from the state government, and we got the endorsement from the federal education minister Alan Touch last week, and we are waiting to get the approval from the federal government hopefully very soon. And the idea and the plan is actually to bring about 250 students every fortnightly to Australia. Now, I hope I have times because they are also the four phases that was introduced by Scott Morrison's. If I can explain a little bit about these four phases. Okay, so currently here in Australia, we are in phase number 1. And this is where the government would like everyone here in Australia, whether it's the Australian, the international students, to get vaccination. Okay, so UNSW, for example, we offer vaccination to students and staff so they can register and get the vaccine jab as soon as they want. It's available from now. It's available from about a month ago for everyone to get the vaccines. So that's phase number 1. The phase number 2 is called the post-vaccination, and this is where hopefully majority or 80% of the population here in Australia got vaccination, and a little bit of freedom for those already been vaccinated. Lockdown will probably still be in place, but a little bit more relaxed. And we're hoping to bring more and more students to Australia in phase number 2. Phase number 3 is called the consolidation, and this is the phase that I am looking forward to happen, you know, hopefully very soon. But at this very moment, the phase 3 is predicted to start happening in July, and this is where the freedom is, probably more available, travel bubbles, and hopefully we bring more and more students to Australia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Julia, for all your answers. These were very insightful. Hopefully, students will find them useful in their academic journey.
My
Thank you so
pleasure.
much. Now, moving forward, we would like to take some questions from our audience and let our experts answer to actually get them on board. Yeah. So first question is, how promising is the subject supply chain management in Australia? Would anyone like to answer this question from our panelists? Ms. Julia, can you answer this question, that how promising is the subject of supply chain management in Australia?
Yes, it's actually a very tough subject, but it's very interesting. It's being offered at the University of New South Wales. It's part of the business school. Um, Look, supply chains is very important. It's a day-to-day core of business, and I think the management of, making sure that, it reached the destination is very important. It is promising, and especially in some of the countries where the port, say for example in Bangladesh, sending from Chittagong perhaps, and to get into the Dhaka or any other part of Bangladesh is very important. And I think, yes, the subject is available if you want to study in Australia. And yeah, feel free to come and do the study here.
Thank you so much, Miss Julia. Next, let's see if we have another question. Taskin Kabir Brishti wanted to know that when will Australia open its borders for international students? And he asked another question, that is Australia good for environmental science and management? It's, I think, Miss Julia, you can answer this.
Me again? Okay. I
Yeah.
think I've already touched about the border opens. I want to add in here too. The Australian government also listening to us. So we've already started granting travel exemptions. So at the moment it is not open, but as I said, also that South Australia, for example, Flinders already, set and ready to start receiving international students at the end of the year, and hopefully any other states will follow suit very soon, including coming to UNSW. The phase 3 that I mentioned earlier that will happen around July, it's something that probably we're looking forward to have more students coming to Australia. But the key message in here, and what I've been reading, all the documents that's available, we are bringing continuing students. We don't bring in new students. So it's good to actually start digitally, start virtually, get your visa done, engage with education agents. So when the border is opened, then you'll be on the on the list of hopefully be able to continue your study in Australia. Environmental management, that is a very good questions, right? That is a very great subject, and it's something that I actually partially doing at the moment. I've started doing it online because I have the time now because I'm working from home. University of New South Wales also offering that degree. The environmental management is actually coming from the art, design, and social sciences faculty. Um, the managing of the environment, the green building, and the great barriers of reef is disappearing. So it needs to be managed properly for the people, for our children to enjoy in many many more years. So it is a very important degree, and I'm very sure it's not just available at UNSW, but of course it's available at UNSW because I'm doing it at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Julia. We're almost running out of time, so we could take I guess, a few more questions. Let me see if we have some other questions or not. Okay, Afif Hassan asked, can student file be open to study A level in abroad? I think Miss Cynthia, you can shortly answer to this question
Yes, of
since we are
course.
running out of time.
Yes. For studying A level in abroad, student file can be open, but prior to that, an approval from Bangladesh Bank needs to be taken. Because as per the regulation, after 12, when a student goes to abroad for higher study, no approval is required. But before 12, uh, if anyone wants to study in school level, they need to take an approval. So it can be open, student file can be open, but with an approval. So that's it.
Okay. I hope Afif got his answer, and then let's see if we have some other questions. Now, Rashidul Hassan is telling us that what is the processing time for fund transfer from Bangladesh? I think Miss Cynthia can go ahead.
Let me take that question. For our existing students who has an account and student file with us, it generally takes half a day. So we are doing it as fast as possible, as I already mentioned in my earlier speech. So that's the time it's required.
Okay, so last question. Arbin Safin asked, which university is suitable for studying engineering in Australia? Miss Melissa, would you like to answer this question?
Sure. Engineering is a program that I would say the majority, if not all, universities in Australia offer. So I'd probably go more specific as to what type of engineering you're looking to study, to be able to narrow down specifically what university you'd be best suited to study. I could guarantee UNSW are offering engineering programs. Flinders are offering undergraduate and postgraduate engineering programs. Incredible facilities in Australia to study engineering. So, yeah, I would say do a little bit of research, have a look online. At Flinders, we have our Tonsley campus, which is purpose built for engineering and all the IT and tech. And I'm sure UNSW has similar campus as well. So, really amazing to study engineering programs in Australia. And really good career outcomes too. Great job outcomes from those programs.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your answer. And with that, we have come to the end of our today's session. Hopefully, this session was beneficial and informative for the academic journey of the students. In short, students need to be informed, strategic, and follow the experts' guideline to reach their destination. And of course, I would like to convey my heartiest appreciation to our panelists for their time and valuable inputs. So for now, for today, thank you so much, everyone. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Bye.